Hey guys, welcome to A Little Help for Our Friends, the podcast for people with loved ones struggling with mental health. Little Helpers, we have an exciting one today. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and we were going a little bit out of our wheelhouse, but also I think it's very much in our wheelhouse. The episode is manifestation. This is going to be part one. I think we're going to attempt to do a part two of us actually acting as if we believe in manifestation, almost manifesting our manifestation and see if we notice any changes. But for now, we're going to talk about like what the science actually says and what we know about why manifestation may or may not work from a clinical psychology perspective. Kibby, how can Cool of Mind help with manifestation?
Well, some of my manifestations will be to grow the Cool of Mind community as well as Instagram. So I don't even know if you're allowed to manifest those really specific things, but yeah, Cool of Mind is our community and skills group and platform and all the things to help you cope with loved ones who are struggling with mental illness. So if you love someone who's exploding in anger, drinking too much, having a drug problem, or just someone who's difficult in your life, and you need help and strategies and support, check out Cool of Mind. The link is in the show notes, or you could check out KULAMIND.com or Cool of Mind, KULAMIND on Instagram, because that's, you could also help me with my manifestation of growing this amazing community.
So we've been looking forward to doing this episode for a while. I forget, we mentioned it on a different episode, and I was like, we should do a manifestation episode. And then you were kind of like, nah, probably because as scientists, we hear manifestation and we poo-poo it a little bit. What I can say is that um, I would think of manifestation itself as kind of woo-woo bullshit, but also like there are clearly elements of it that we know work as therapists. I then went to the christening of my godson, and the parents are like both my best friends, and they're very, very smart people. Um, they do a lot of like research and everything, and they're Kabbalists and like Gnostic Christians. I think actually she is Kabbalah, he is Gnostic, and they go to this Gnostic church. And um, they're very into like hardcore meditation practices and manifestation practices. And they were telling me about their experiences with meditation. And I don't know like how much I buy it, but when my own friends, who I view as very smart and respect a lot, talk about something with a lot of positivity, I'm more likely to then like go and explore it a little bit. So I've been on at least a meditation journey since then and have been trying to kind of open my mind a little bit to manifestation. Um, and it's a juicy topic. Like I think there's a lot to get into. And then you kind of got on board, and I know you've been tell me your experience of like manifestation the
I
last
don't
few
know,
weeks.
man. I don't know. I'll believe in anything at this point. I've been on Instagram for too long, too many hours of the day these days, and I'm just seeing all these like manifestation influencers who I mean, this is what it looks like to me without knowing, really, I'm not a manifestation expert, but it looks like you go think yourself, like it's from the like, what is it, The Secret, or the laws, what is it called, like, this, is it just The Secret? Yeah, it's like law of attraction. You just think, if you want something, think it, believe in it, pretend it's real, and then it'll come to you. And I'm like, at first I was like, ugh, rolling my eyes, because as we'll get into, there are some problems with that. But also there's some things that are kind of true. Like, yeah, I just made me thinking to myself about how much lately in the past couple episodes, we've talked a little bit about my core beliefs of being like unsuccessful and broken. And, I struggle with self-worth a lot of the time. And whenever I'm trying to do something in the day, like trying to go for a goal, um, I'm usually thinking about like why, like looking for the signs of I'm not good enough, or I'm not, this, of course I'm not going to be successful. I'm so stupid, blah, blah, blah. Right. I have so many negative thoughts. And these influencers are like, yeah, you're attaching these thoughts and that energy to everything you do. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there might be, I might be like self sabotaging by constantly thinking about the negative stuff, right? And just like biasing my view of just like, I'm negative, I'm negative. What would happen if I just believed in myself, right? And there's this, there's this famous story of Jim Carrey, who was super most people should know who he is, but there's some people like didn't know who Jim Carrey was. I was like, oh my God, dating myself. But Jim Carrey was like broke and not famous, and he struggles with depression a lot. But he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated like 5 years into the future. And he just like carried it around with him, right? Like he just believed like this, acting as though this goal came true. And then 1995 or 1994, it was like the Jim Carrey year. He came out with like Dumb and Dumber that paid him $10 million. And then he was like Ace Ventura and The Mask. Like he just exploded, right? And I mean, that might not be exactly a true story, but that's an example of when someone just goes, okay, I have a mental Pinterest board. This is my goal and I'm going to get to it. And that actually helps them get there. So I don't know. I'll believe anything at this point.
I mean, I think what you started with was actually a point I wanted to make, which is that I think we can see how manifestation works when we think about negative manifestation. It actually seems pretty self-evident that when we uh negatively manifest, right? Like when we tell ourselves we're ugly, we're unsuccessful, we're worthless, we suck, then life starts giving us negativity. And for instance, I struggle with body image a lot, right? So when I tell myself I'm ugly and fat and old, yada yada yada, I'm going to start like hunching my shoulders and like, I don't know, not like presenting very confidently. I'm not going to have that kind of glow of confidence that says, I'm hot. I know I'm hot. Like, you know, here we were. You should think I'm beautiful too. A lot of times, like, what we find beautiful is just another person giving us the confidence to find them attractive. Like when another person says, "Of course I'm beautiful," then you're much more likely to find them attractive because we are drawn to confidence. We're drawn to other people telling us like what's true. I had a friend who was an actress and she kept not booking even though she's talented. And I kind of thought to myself, maybe it's because she goes in there with this attitude of like the universe hates me, I never get anything good, you know, like people suck, they don't like me. Why is it never me? And I'm like, no one's gonna want to hire that person, right? If you tell yourself like that you just can't do anything right and you're gonna fail at everything you try, then you're probably not gonna try anything. So when you tell yourself all these negative stories, it makes sense that negative things will happen, or at least non-good things will happen. You'll prevent yourself from getting good things. And we would just call that like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we say, I don't believe in good love, right? I don't deserve a really good love. I don't deserve a really good man, then you won't have one because you'll date, shitheads. And so, like, that's all stuff that we already know. And so it would make sense that flipping the script would at least have some sort of positive benefit.
Yeah, I even right before this, I was reminded of it. Of just like this is all like self-fulfilling prophecies, right? If we walk around with a belief, we're going to look for things that confirm the belief. It's just as easier than learning something completely new, right? If we're like, oh, no one likes me and I'm broken, we're going to look around confirming that because it's way harder to be like, wait, maybe not. Like, what does that look like, right? You have to change everything you know. I just like thinking about wanting to grow Cool of Mind and really like boost up the community and make it so useful. I realized I've been doing this all the time. I write to my team members all the time about like what we need to improve, right? Sometimes I'm like, I'm not doing this well. I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. Like I'm constantly focused on what I haven't done yet and what I done badly. And in the conversation, I was like, we're all trying to work out something, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't told you I got like 5 new messages from members saying how useful it was and how much they loved it, how they had a breakthrough. And I just started sharing those with them. And they were like, whoa, I had no idea. You just been saying that this was a problem, or that this bug on the app doesn't work, whatever. That as soon as I was like, wait a minute, if I just keep putting forward this negative view, it's just going to like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if I'm like, wait a minute, I've like, the cool mind community is already awesome. Look at all these great stuff that's happening. Yeah, I mean, it's just like training your attention to, there's so many things going on, good and bad, and what do you want to focus on?
Well, I mean, I think that's part of it. I mean, you're talking about confirmation bias. Like, if I
Hmm.
have a belief, and then I will start noticing things that conform to that belief, and that will build my worldview. But I also think that there's a genuine, um, I think that manifestation can generate actual change. Like, we notice this with art all the time. If we have a painting, like an abstract painting, and I am somebody who owns an art gallery, and I tell everyone this painting is complete trash. It's so ugly. Oh my God, don't you think so too? Everyone will be like, oh yeah, you're right, that's ugly. And they'll genuinely think it's ugly. But if you go in there and you're like, this is fucking avant-garde. This is iconoclastic. Oh my God, the artist who did this is just brilliant. Have you ever seen anything like this? Then all of a sudden people will start seeing it in a different way. That's not necessarily confirmation bias. Like, I think confirmation bias is a part of this, right? Like, if you are only looking at the negatives in your life, then you'll start seeing only the negatives, and then you'll be less happy. But also, if you act as if, or if you start um believing, in the good, it's not just that you'll see more good, it's that you'll generate more good because you'll influence other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like in your behaviors too. Like what kind of opportunities do you see? What do you, oh, yeah. When it comes to other people, that's what I always found fascinating with like influencing other people, because I inherently do believe that when you act confident or believe yourself confident, other people will take that too, especially if it's like putting a value on a piece of art, which is like that's subjective, like what we value, what do we think it's worth. But if you do it on yourself, if I'm walking into a room with a bunch of strangers and they're like, who's Kibby, and I act like I'm the shit and that everyone has treated me well, they're gonna I this is my theory, that they're like, oh, based on the data of her entire life, people have treated her like the shit.
Hmm.
So I only have this one piece of data, her walking in a room. I don't know her. She knows herself, and she is carrying with her a lifetime of positive feedback.
Hmm.
So she must be worthy, right? Same thing with like a piece of art. If historically everyone has found it valuable, then you're going to find it valuable, because we walk in trying to gather information based on like context clues, right? So a context clue of like, I already have all the things. Other people are going to be like, well, I believe you. You're the one who knows more than I do.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we know that there is some value towards saying, like, if I decide today to just, instead of telling myself constantly that I'm fat and gross, to tell myself I am beautiful as I am, I'm super hot, anybody would be lucky to have me. Jason, wow, what a lucky guy, like, people are going to find me beautiful, then there's like, I would think that there would be a measurable difference in the way that people respond to me. Because, and if I can make myself genuinely believe that, then great. There has been a study showing, however, that if you don't really believe, like, such a struggle, right? Because I'll have clients who just beat the shit out of themselves mentally. They like tell themselves they're ugly, they're unsuccessful, that they're a loser, they can't do anything right. And it's frustrating because I'm like, okay, how does that help? You telling yourself that, how does it help? And it doesn't, I mean, for for some people, being hard on themselves helps them like get the motivation to try even harder. But for the majority of people, I would say it mainly just tanks their motivation and just makes them feel like they can't do anything, that they'll fail at anything they try. So it's like, how is this helping? Can we change this? And affirmations have a super cheesy connotation to them, so I always hesitate to suggest them. But at the same time, if you start changing the way that you talk to yourself, if you start changing the way that you think about yourself, that can have power. The problem is apparently that if you start saying things that are really hard to believe, then that can actually make you feel worse about yourself. And that's like kind of a tricky thing. If I were to tell myself I weigh 115 pounds, then that would be tough because objectively I do not weigh 115 pounds. So why would I ever believe that, right? And then I'm just basically focusing myself on this reality that like isn't true. And then I'm just going to notice the delta between what is true and what isn't true. And that's going to make me feel worse. Um,
Yeah.
But I guess, if I start from I'm a complete piece of shit and kind of work myself up to like, well, there are actually worse pieces of shit than me, and I'm like passable.
Well,
Then maybe you can train up. I don't
wait,
know.
before we dive into like whether it works, do you actually know? I don't know. Do you know what the definition and limits of manifestation actually is? Because is it any goal? Is it like can you manifest like I've seen, on Instagram like manifest wealth, right? There's like tangible outcomes, or is it like manifest beauty or vibe? Like what can you manifest? What can't you?
Well, I think given that this is not a scientific construct, I don't know that there's much of a
Okay,
definition.
thank you.
I mean, I think my friends would say like you can't, first of all, you can't manifest things for other people necessarily, although she did.
Why not?
Because
So
you don't
manifestation
want
could only be
to.
selfish for your own gain.
I mean, I need to talk to her again because basically she's like, okay, she did actually manifest something for me. She really hated my ex-fiance, and all she manifested was that he would show his true face to me before we got married. And she specifically chose that because she's like, I cannot manifest that they break up because it's not my life. It's not my desire. That's like fucking with somebody else's trajectory. That's not right. Who am I to say that this person is right for her or wrong for her? So she's like, can't manifest something like that. But I could potentially manifest just that she sees the reality of what she's in and then makes a decision that's right for her based on that. Whatever she wants to do, as long as she understands the truth, is good. So that's what she attempted to manifest.
Okay. But so this friend
Yeah.
was very helpful, but very instrumental in being very vocal about like this partnership is problematic. Like she didn't like, yeah, I mean, I think it might be interesting that it's what she focused on, what she decided to manifest was like not like a particular outcome, I guess, or like you got to break up or not, but like I just want her to see and make her own decision, so it gave you some agency. But to be fair, it wasn't like she just manifested and then it happened. She did stuff. Like she was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, everyone should notice this."
Yeah. I mean, I think because she actually believes in like the universe's energy and that actually having sway. And I think when she was leaving it up to the universe, she's like, I can't have too much of a hand in this. The universe is just got to show her the truth, and that's it. That's all I'm going to ask for. But she herself can still have agency and say he's a piece of shit. And like tell me that. But yeah, I mean, but it is true. There is this problem of like, well, do we want people to just manifest by sitting there thinking to themselves, "Oh, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy. Okay, yes, now I'll wait and see what happens."
Mhm.
That would not be good.
Yeah, okay. So it's not a passive thing where you just like want something and then it comes, right? Which is kind of how it's advertise a lot of times,
Right.
like just think and it will come. What I don't fully understand is, and if anyone listening knows more about manifestation in a real way, you're welcome to like send us a message and tell us about it, because I honestly don't know. But from what I read, it's a new thought philosophy that became popular around like the mid 2000s, with the book The Secret, I guess. And it's like a there's a mystical part to it, right? It's like you could raise your vibration and manifest these things. And I don't fully understand that part. Although when I hear it, there's a part of me that's like eye rolly, but then there's another part that's like, oh, that feels so nice. Like that it just felt like I don't have to do it. Like it just feels like there's something outside of my thinky thinks, like my efforts, my over functioning, that can magically make this happen without me having it. It releases some responsibility and burden when I hear vibration, but then I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what do you mean? Vibration where? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think okay, like these friends, right, have a spiritual approach to manifestation. And they will do manifestation after deep meditation, and it's like energetic meditation where they're like pulling energy from the core of the earth, or like I'm doing this meditation series called the Gateway Experience, and what I'll say is that I don't know if this shit manifests anything, but in terms of putting you into a deeply relaxed state and like putting you into different mental states, it is amazing. Like I've never experienced anything like this. And part of the Gateway Experience is you have like an energy conversion box where you like put all of your negative, like all of your concerns and your physical body and everything like into this box, and you shut it. And then you do this like energetic practice where you're like sucking, you're basically just breathing in air up to your head, and that's supposed to be like breathing good energy into your head, and then you are blowing out while humming old stale energy. And then you make this energetic balloon around you of the new energy, and then you go into these like altered states. Okay, from a scientific perspective, is this universe energy shit? I don't know. Like, no, there's no evidence, right, that manifestation is about like harnessing the universe's energies, at least not in the psychological research. That's going into the spiritual realm, and so you kind of have to decide for yourself whether that is like legit or not. Um, all I know is that, like, meditations, hypnosis, they can put you into altered states of consciousness. And then, is there a connection between that and manifestation? My friends believe it, but my friends are not like you listeners have no reason to believe my friends, right? They're just like my friends. So, I don't know. That would be the argument that like I am actually harnessing the universe's energy to like change some sort of like energetic fabric around myself that aligns me more with my goal.
hmm,
In the psychological research, there's actually a problem with just visualizing
yeah.
nice thing, like visualizing your goals. And the actual better way to do it is to visualize the steps and effort it takes to get to that goal.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do believe in energy, and I mean, I still read tarot cards, and I was yoga teacher time, and I've seen amazing things when I went to Thailand, and there was like sometimes like energy transfers between people that I really can't explain in any other way. Like
Mhm.
people were able to walk, just from a massage essentially. It was crazy. But so I do believe that there is a lot that we don't understand, and just
Yeah.
to, wash them away is not real. I don't think it's fair. I and actually when you just did the ooh part, that we know from science actually stimulates the vagus nerve. That's paced breathing, right? To like breathe out and make noise. And even in Sanskrit, this is so cool. I wish I knew I wish I knew more of the details, but in Sanskrit, that was Sanskrit is used for, those mantras and chanting, because Sanskrit is actually a very physical and I've got musical language that uses different parts of the mouth and intentionally will vibrate like different sounds will vibrate different parts of the body, like different parts of your upper throat or back of the neck or whatever, and that's supposed to stimulate different chakras or different energy centers. So they're I mean, like, it's not awesome, like, but it's just there. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, there, I think there is something about that. I just there, but there's also a part of me that gets like crabby about the whole, like, I just could raise my vibration and get wealthy.
Yeah.
That just bothers me. I don't know
What does
why.
having the biggest nerve do?
When, like, the paced breathing from DBT, when you breathe out for a long period of time, like, right, that it stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. And I think there's some particular, um, now I'm forgetting, but like different restrictions of your throat when you when you like breathe out, or like the oceanic breathing in yoga, that restricts your throat, so it pushes on the vagus nerve, so it actually calms you down as well. That's why
Okay,
you get a little like loopy, because like we go or something like that, like like
this is
you're actually
awesome
tensing.
podcast.
Don't do it exactly like I did. That's horrible. But it actually, like, not, like right now I feel a little bit lightheaded because I just like stimulated like my vagus nerve, and so I feel a little like heady.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Gateway experience, I believe, was developed at Washington University at St. Louis, which is like a super legit school that waitlisted me back when I applied. Um, so I mean, it's like it uses bilateral like uh, audio stimulation. Like you have to wear headphones when you do it. You get like different sounds in each ear, and it like uses a kind of hypnosis. It's really cool. So there's like science behind it. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's something bothersome about saying, like, if you just visualize, being wealthy, then you'll get wealthy. It seemingly undercuts all of the effort that people put in order to obtain their goals in favor of just sitting around and like thinking about it or wishing for it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, probably a lot of people who have gone through years and years of school or entrepreneurship or effort of some kind are going to hear this and be like, ugh, come on.
Yeah, and I think that especially on social media, it's something that feels really good for us as a culture, is the idea that we could get a bunch of stuff with very little effort, right? Like
Right,
there's some
exactly.
magic that you just think it and you're going to get it. And there are a lot of influencers out there who are like, you know, spend money like you're a millionaire, and you will become a millionaire. And I'm like, how many people are they putting in debt with that idea? Like, like, I, I see that there are some good, like, real parts. For example, like, if you manifest, oh, I'm going to be successful and wealthy, you might invest in certain things, or you might go for a promotion, or you might reject a confidence where people then invest in you, literally. But it's, I mean, that, like, those intermediate steps are just wiped out, and you're given some affirmations on social media that's just like, I I'm a millionaire. I don't even know. Like, I am, everyone loves me, and I attract only high value everything. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of primes you to be open to the next steps that would actually get you there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important aspect of this is like, this shit's gonna work insofar as it raises your ability and confidence or your confidence in your ability to take steps in getting somewhere. But the risk is that you encourage like an obsession in
Mhm.
people where they don't feel like they have to take any steps in reality, and all they're doing is like sitting around with fantasizing. Um, and it's kind of like, well, we know that a lot of people sit around fantasizing, right? I was just watching this documentary on Eminem yesterday and his crazy fans, and it's like those people sit around fantasizing about Eminem all the time, but Eminem does not have 4 million girlfriends and boyfriends. So all those people
I'm
sitting around,
sorry. Where did you hear that people were sitting around fantasizing about Eminem?
In this document, well, he's a celebrity. Of course they're doing this. All celebrities have people sitting around fantasizing about them. But Eminem has like an insane fan base, like a really, really, really like dedicated fan base.
Still? And also, like,
Did you know the word stan, like I stan that couple, came from his
yeah,
song? I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I didn't know that that was a thing that people say. Of course, we know that song, but like, people are. Oh my- Out of all the celebrities you could be talking about, you could be talking about like Taylor Swift or you. Eminem is the one that you're like, see, people
Eminem's
fantasize.
awesome, first of all. I don't know
Oh,
what
I
you have
know, I
against
know. No, no, no. This is not a dig on Eminem. This is just a question about why you brought up Eminem as the example of someone who gets fantasized about a lot.
because I watched this documentary on him yesterday.
Okay. All right. Look.
And so he has all these rabid fans, right, who are sitting around being like, "Oh my God!" Like they'll do anything for Eminem. They like they have books where they put like everything about Eminem that's ever been created. They'll make scrapbooks and they like think about him all the time and they write to him all the time and they talk to their friends about him all the time. They go to all his concert, right? Like those people are sitting around obsessing about Eminem, but that does not actually bring them in any closer proximity to Eminem other than, the proximity of buying tickets to his events.
There you
But
go.
like he is
And
not their boyfriend, he is not their friend, like
yeah, and I think you're bringing up a good point. Like one of the big problems with manifestation is like that it promotes just like fantasizing instead of actual like goal setting. And
mm,
sometimes it's like, what's the difference? When Jim Carrey wrote a $10 million check for himself, right? Like that is just as fanciful as like anyone else being like, I'm gonna marry Eminem, right? But I mean, for this is just an aside. It's not really aside, but like those influencers that I'm talking about, there's one. I don't want to say the account. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll link the account on the show notes. But there's an account of this woman who's just like, you can manifest being relaxed rich. That's her whole thing, being relaxed rich. So she has this program where she copyrighted her own thing of hypno dance, where you dance to techno music that she makes that has affirmations, right? I am wealthy, I am relaxed, I am rich, right? And all the videos of her are just like dancing in her like Dubai apartment, right? Like, listening to her tracks, which are pretty good, but like, you know, and I was like, huh. I looked into her a little bit. I mean, I'm sure she's a very nice person, right? Trying to help people, okay? But when I looked into it, she is a trust fund baby. So her being like, she wrote things like, I manifested this Dubai apartment. I'm like, yeah, daddy's trust fund manifest. Like, the thing is, like, the gaps between what's possible, right? Like, if you go from if you just live in this fantasy with no sight into the steps towards it,
yeah.
then it just becomes, first of all, that's just kind of snake oil, right? That's just lying,
Yeah.
fraud.
Yeah. I mean, I have an account that I follow because she had a digital product where she taught people how to be FinDoms, which I thought was funny and also sort of tempting, but I can't. Because I have to be a
Wait, tell
psychologist.
tell tell everyone what that is, because I didn't know until I saw those
Financial
reels.
domination. It's where you make men give you money, and I've traditionally been decent at this. Not through any official or professional capacity, but no.
You're a Findon hobbyist.
Yeah. Anyway, so she is now moving into like away from findoming, I guess, and more about like how to, I think she's trying to coach people into making digital products. And anyways, she did a whole like manifesting wealth thing by acting as if you're wealthy. She's like, I went and I did a $20,000 month. I spent $20,000 in a month. And after that, I realized I could never be happy living the way I was again. And so I stepped it up and I, started making it happen so that I would, and she's like, now $20,000 is nothing. Like, that's not even enough of a month. I just like, I gave myself the life that I needed, that I wanted. I spent it all in that month. And then after that, I was like, okay, I can't go back. I'm just going to move forward. And like that's a risky little gambit, you know? I mean, that is going to work on some people. Some people are going to be like, "Holy shit, I will never be satisfied with the life I was living before. I guess I should stop like working at McDonald's and start, really applying for great jobs and getting education and moving up in the world." But a lot of people are going to be fucked. So I'm like, I don't really know why you're advising this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cutting out the important piece, like be having access to the steps there. And I agree that there's a delicate balance of being able to see that there's steps there. A lot of people who are just in the negative mindset won't just I'm probably me obsessing over how I'm not good enough is probably literally blinding me to opportunities I could be taking. Right. And seeing those are important. But if they are not even there, I think manifestation and the idea is biased against a lot of people who have actual restrictions, right? Like if you don't have a trust fund, you can't manifest an apartment in Dubai. Or if you, like the FinDom girl, I guess, probably has ways that she can get 20,000 a month, but that not everyone can say that. And I've heard that, you know, it's people who are like under systemic racism, like feel oppression or just don't have means, right? You can manifest, but you're not going to be paid $10 million for a movie like Jim Carrey was,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So, yeah.
and the point about affirmations is really interesting too, because I remember when we started training in cognitive behavioral therapies, and I was biased against the whole like just think your way into happiness. um but then trying to figure out like, okay, how can we change our thoughts? Like thoughts are important, beliefs are important, so how do we change it? Do we change it? Whatever. And we were learning I was learning how to do mindfulness based cognitive therapy groups and how to lead mindfulness for people who are like severely depressed and anxious. And I asked our supervisor, I said, why don't we do like compassion meditation? Because compassion meditation is supposed to be really good for depression, right? Just like thinking about even gratitude and loving yourself and looking at the good things, like things that I would think are really helpful. Um, Cultivating this feeling of like gratitude and compassion for yourself. And my supervisor said, we tried, but it doesn't work with people who are severely depressed, who have really, really low self-esteem and such entrenched chronic beliefs that they're unlovable or hateful or broken or whatever, that when you just try to give them affirmations of I am lovable or I deserve love, that's basically saying you can manifest an apartment in Dubai with no trust fund. Like for them, that felt so far away that they would actually get more depressed
Yeah.
doing compassion meditation. So she was like, at first, just learning basic meditation, getting them treatment, getting them a little bit better, and then compassion meditation can come later. So I think what you're saying is right with when you have affirmations or fantasies that are so divorced from reality, it just backfires.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that case, maybe having a focus instead on defusing from the negative self-talk. So it's like if you can, at the very least, just calm down the negative self-talk and like let in some reasonable affirmations, like, I'm okay. I'm not the worst person in the world. It's
Hmm.
possible that someone could value me as a friend. Starting small could be helpful. But it's interesting, right? Because manifestation actually asks you to do something much more unrealistic.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think from the self regulation literature, it's like um, it does make a goal more likely to happen. Going from like passively fantasizing to making a goal actually happen is how like athletes do visualization, right? It's like specifically what's your goal? What does it look like? Visualizing what it looks like, but then also the steps to get there, like actually break it down into realistic steps that you
Yeah.
can tackle, right? So even if it's like thinking, right? I'm lovable. it might actually be feasible to be like, okay, I feel like I'm 100% unlovable, but maybe focusing on what we know is true, even what I know is true. I've had one person tell me that they love me. I have this one success that I could point to, right? So it's like just seeing for yourself like objective facts that might eventually lead to the belief like people do love me, which is
Yeah.
like a bigger belief.
Yeah. I think, I mean, another like perk of manifestation is just, I think goal clarification can be helpful. In manifestation, you're supposed to really kind of visualize like the emotion of if this has already happened. If I am, if let's say I'm single, like I'm going to visualize the emotion, feel the emotion of being loved by another person. I'm going to really like let that in, right? Then theoretically that can kind of increase your focus on that goal and make it more likely to happen. Or like I think a better one might be I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. Like I'm going to really visualize what it's like to get up there and do a great job and make people laugh and then wow, like now I'm really going to want it. Of course the downside is like I don't know, really increasing disappointment if things don't like turn out exactly as you imagine them.
Hmm.
I was thinking about that kind of when I was like 2 seconds ago talking about imagining what it would be like to be loved by somebody. Sometimes what we imagine isn't reality. Like when I would imagine marriage before, um, I don't know, like when I was 25, let's say, it was this like whirlwind of dopamine. Like, oh my God, it's just gonna feel like my soul is on fire every single day. Like I would imagine that all the time. But the problem is that kind of took me further away from like, real love.
Reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is tough that there's no actual. I tried looking for this before this episode. I tried looking for research, and I just can't believe that people haven't researched this more, considering how popular it is. Apparently, there's a survey of 1,000 people about manifestation, and 1/3 of people believe in manifestation. So it's really popular, and there's absolutely no scientific um evidence for it. So, I mean, there's evidence for the things that we're talking about, which is like visualization, breaking things down into actual steps towards a concrete goal. Um, and there's confirmation bias, where it's like whatever you believe and think, you're going to like actually see it in the world, which might reinforce that belief. But manifestation as like a vibrational attraction thing hasn't actually been studied or proven.
Yeah.
Um, and I got to find this, and if I do, I'll share it in the show notes. But there was a hilarious reel I saw. There's like a video of a girl spinning around, and it said, "Me manifesting my dream house," and then in the front there's like her husband on the computer, like, and my husband making it happen.
Uh-huh.
Very gendered, but it was very funny.
Okay, so my friend's method, and again, this is one person, and
It's all we got.
it's all, I mean, I think this is the Kabbalist. I don't know how to say that exactly. We were talking
Kabbalist?
about
Kabbalist?
Kabbalist.
I don't know.
I was asking her how, because Kibby, can I say this? You were entering IVF?
Hmm.
Do you, okay. So you're doing IVF, and you asked me to come up with a fertility spell and or manifestation. So she says if she's doing it, it requires entering meditative states, and that's the biggest part. If she can enter a state where she's able to feel and call energy, that's 90% of it. Okay, so already, like, you can sort of see this divide. Like, she's going with the real energy, like, energy field thing. Like, you know, I mean, and she'll even she's done meditative states using crystals, right? Where she can, like, she feels like she can pull the energy from the crystal. I don't, there's not
We
scientific
don't have a
evidence.
crystal. Is that a problem? I want us to do this. I want us to actually manifest something
Sure.
now, and then later on we'll tell everyone how it goes, right? I don't have a
Okay.
crystal. Is that a problem?
No. Why don't you
Do I have a
do
crystal? My house.
why don't you take the deep breath, do the pace breathing with the
Okay.
and see if you can create an energy field around yourself. All right, so we're
Okay.
doing
Cut
a
in.
manifestation with my friend's method, okay? My friend's method. And that would be different actually than the method that was recommended in the literature, the scientific literature, but this one will be
Okay.
more fun. Okay, so we are going to try to get you into like an energetic state. So we're going to do pace breathing essentially, but what we're going to want you to do is breathe. So you're going to shut your eyes and breathe in new, fresh energy into your head. So kind of imagine this energy going up your body and into your head, and then you're going to release it, that old stale energy, but you're going to hum as you do it. So,
Does it
breathe
matter
in again.
what tone I do?
No.
Okay.
And you're going to visualize this energy coming into your body, this fresh energy into your body, into your head.
I feel a little like loopy. I feel a little dizzy right now.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. Though. And then breathe out that old stale energy.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay, just keep doing that until you sort of feel like you're in some sort of altered state.
Kind of now.
Okay. Now see if you can kind of ground yourself into the earth and feel kind of imagine that your energy from the top of your head is going into straight into the center of the earth.
Hmm.
And then see if you can pull that energy from the center of the earth back into yourself. All the way up into your head.
Okay.
And just kind of keep seeing if you can feel that energy connection with the earth going all the way down. You can visualize it, right? Like all the way down from your apartment through the apartments below into the ground. I don't remember the different kinds of matter in the earth, but the magma and the silt and shit, and go all the way down into the core. Stop it. All the way down to the core. And pull that energy back up and into your head. And then breathe out that stale energy again with a hum. Do that a couple more breaths. Okay, so in this charged energetic space, I want you to imagine what it would be like to already have the cool mind community that you desire. Imagine the emotion. What would that be like? What would it feel like to be you? What would it feel like to interact with your community? What would it feel like for people to be helped by Cool Mind and for their relationships to change? play in that space for a while. Okay, for the sake of our audience, I'm gonna call it here. My friend would probably be like, "Are you smoking crack?" That's not what I said to do, but I did my best.
Feels nice. I mean, I feel it's interesting. Okay. Can I debrief or am I supposed to do anything else? Okay. It was interesting actually picturing the goal,
Hmm.
which is not like in my head, I'm always like, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, oh, right? But then I pictured pretty similar things to what I've already done before. Like, so I know it's very much possible and within my capability. The interesting thing, I mean, maybe because we were just talking about this in the community today about people pleasing and over functioning and being in an identity and role of someone who keeps giving and giving and giving, which all of us in the community and me like identify
Yeah.
with. And the thing that came up when I pictured like, okay, it's big, it's helping a lot of people, like it's what I imagine will be awesome would be changing the way that we even address like caregivers and loved ones in mental health treatment, right? Like actually seeing like their family members as important parts of mental health treatment. Like that's something that I always want. And I want more people to feel less alone in mental health, in their depression or their loneliness, right? I want to feel people to feel like they're connected. But something that came up was picturing how overwhelmed I would feel because the bigger I grow things, the more successful I've become, the more like, oh my God, I'm just going to have to keep giving and giving and giving until I'm drained. That was a thing that I was like, oh my God, right now, we're small enough that I can do whatever I want. I could take rest. I can have flexibility. But I imagine when things grow, this is one of the reasons why I stopped when I didn't want to go forward in academia because I was like, if I have a full functioning lab, I can never like work remotely or travel or, I would be beholden. That's what it would feel like is beholden because I don't ever picture like people helping me. It's more about like me having more people that I need to save and help and carry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an
Whew.
important point, right? Like what exactly are we supposed to are we supposed to manifest the reality of what it would be if we got what we wanted, or are we supposed
Yeah.
to manifest just the part that we wanted?
But actually, I think that was really helpful because it just pictured like what there was some block,
Hmm.
and the block is that like the idea, like probably many things, but like the idea that I would just be drained or I wouldn't like be nourished if fed back. I would just have to keep giving, giving, and I'd be stuck there, which is kind of how I felt with, my mom, right? So it's just it's interesting.
So how might that change things, though? Does that make you less likely to want to pursue the goal, or does it give you insight into maybe why you've been like not wanting to pursue completely or
Yeah,
something?
me in particular, I think, yes, I think that I've stepped away and run away from like whenever I have gotten successful, I've been like, oh no, and I switch to something else and I'm like, I'm not successful because
Mm.
not successful, like being
So that's just
undervalued or being um overlooked, right?
yeah.
There's a certain freedom in that. There's a certain like my mom's not gonna come for me and try to take everything that I have, right? That I won't be drained. I could go inward and preserve myself. I don't have to keep giving, giving, giving. So I guess I have to figure out how to like see that manifestation as something that can nourish me as well, and I could still feel rested in
Hmm.
those bigger stages of growth. Whoa,
Hmm.
this was much more helpful than I thought. This is, I mean, in a surprising way, not necessarily um closing my eyes and dancing and hypno dancing my way into like a Dubai apartment, but
You're really
It's
rescuing me from my half-assed attempt at cobbling together manifestation practices I don't understand.
well, another after this, not on this call. We should actually do
Uh-huh.
it for you. I mean, you're probably doing it for yourself, right? But it'll be fun to also. What would you what would will you or have you manifested so we could check in on the results as a N of two study manifestation?
Wealth.
You want wealth. Is it this vague or is it like, yeah, you're gonna
Well, this is the
get a
thing is
job?
I
So
don't really know how I don't really know how specific I'm supposed to get, you know? I mean, it's like inside yeah. This is kind of like when we learn more, I feel like this episode is supposed to be more about like this what does the science say about manifestation, right? But for our next manifestation episode, that's more about like what is the actual spiritual practice of manifestation and like what
okay.
exactly is it supposed to look. I don't, you know, one thing she said is like you want to be it seems like there's this thing around specificity. It's like you can be you can be too specific where she was like, and I know she did a house manifestation. She's like, I want a house. And then she got this really big house, but she actually hated the house. She was like, I didn't actually manifest what I really wanted, which was more of like an emotional experience within the house
Mm,
of like how I would feel in the right house. So I shouldn't have necessarily manifested like a house, like that thing, but you know, the way I really want to feel within the space that would make me truly happy or something like that. Um, so I kind of have to figure that out.
yeah, I mean, I understand that from our perspective as values, right? Like, and I did read that there is like positive affirmations that actually work is talking about core values or think that you know is true, like my family loves me, or I want to give, I want to help people, right? You know,
Mhm.
with loved ones struggling mental health. Um, so yeah, so there might be something about like really touching into the value of what you want, right? And picturing it, but maybe not getting so tightly hung up on
The exact
when I
out.
say wealth, it means like
Right.
a Dubai apartment, right?
Right.
Um, one thing I did read is that uh, journaling and scripting has a lot to do with manifestation. That's a big strategy where you write out a narrative of your life as if your desire has already happened, like journaling, like writing a day in the life at your dream job, or a thank you letter, or a check for $10 million, or writing your intentions or goals daily, or using. I've read that there's a specific format, like a 55 by 5, writing an affirmation 55 times for 5 days, something like that, where there's like a specific repetitive like ritual around writing. I mean, we also know that like that works with gratitude journals or writing down things you're grateful for, or
Isn't the science of that just to get a sufficiently large enough number that it becomes a real habit and like gets into your psyche?
but I guess it matters what you're journaling. If you're journaling like I am grateful for my son, I'm grateful for my health or whatever, versus like I'm a millionaire, you know, like things that are totally out of your realm of possibility or like a fantasy, right? Like, or something that's so unrealistic. I don't know. I'm just,
I just mean I don't think there's anything magical about the number 55 in
right, right.
pi.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 Just like something repetitive. There's other techniques. So it's like three,
Yeah.
6, 9, like 3 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, and 9 at night or something. Um, uh, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
just something
I think
repetitive.
gratitude practice is, I mean, I don't think of that as manifestation, but it somehow gets looped in here where, I mean, I just feel like that is, again, more to the confirmation bias. If you start recognizing all the things you're grateful for,
Hmm.
I mean, hey, you're just gonna be a cooler person to be around. And like, so much of what we obtain in life are from other people. If you can be a really cool person to be around, then the chances that your life will
Hmm.
be abundant multiply a lot.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
As I was saying
When,
with my former friend who like didn't get any of the acting jobs, it's like it's kind of because you like suck as a person. Like people don't want to work with you, you know, if you've
right.
got that like cloud of negativity around you.
Yeah, I think also it's like how you treat yourself. I mean, like these kind of core beliefs or confirmation biases apply to yourself, but they tend to, without us realizing it, they apply to other people, right? So if I'm grateful for the things in myself and my life, I'm probably going to be more grateful to you and to the other
Right.
people I love, and that feels good. If I'm like negative about myself, I'm then going to be negative about everything I see outside, and that just, then you're like, I don't want someone to like look at me defensively or critically all the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that it?
That's it. What are you, okay, you're manifesting wealth. So when we do the next season, so we're gonna do like one more episode, right? The wrap up, and then we're gonna do um next season. And the next season we'll talk about the results of our manifestation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
No. I'm just trying to think about how much clarification I need to bring to the wealth thing. It'll probably be something like I wish for money to never be or to stop being a source of stress or to stop, to feel secure, like
Hmm.
to feel some sort of security, something like that.
Feeling financially secure.
Yeah, with a swimming pool in my backyard. So,
Get some specifics, but also like what does it feel like to be financially secure? What are you going to do differently? What is the emotion? Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, this is baseline measurement, and then we will see in the future what happens. Right?
All right, little helpers. Well, we will. At least I'm going to manifest that we see you next week, and I'm also going to manifest that we have 100,000 million positive 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and hopefully my manifesting that means that you guys actually do it. So please rate us highly, and we'll see you next week. By accessing this podcast, I acknowledge that the hosts of this podcast make no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast and any and all content or services available on or through this podcast are provided for general, non-commercial informational purposes only and do not constitute the practice of medical or any other professional judgment, advice, diagnosis, or treatment, and should not be considered or used as a substitute for the independent professional judgment, advice, diagnosis, or treatment of a duly licensed and qualified healthcare provider. In case of a medical emergency, you should immediately call 911. The hosts do not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement.